3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Transcend Podcast. This is a show where we motivate, inspire, and learn to work with all your heart. My name is Matthew Arnold, joined with my co-host today, Arin. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for more content like this. What's going on, Arin? How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at those intros, man. Like from the last episode to this episode, like that one was a little smooth. What the people won't see is my first take, though.
Hey, so, you actually nailed that one.
It was smooth, man. It's smooth. I took out the exercise scientist statement in this one, man. And for anyone who's curious, I don't know if I'm a scientist or not. Like I wasn't sure. So for the 2 episodes prior, or three episodes ago, 2 episodes ago, I'm rambling on. But yeah, man.
No, I really want to validate the scientist part of it because I mean, like, there are 2 parts to it, right? Like you either have like a PhD in the sciences, or you're just a gym bro with so much knowledge. Yeah. I mean, that's really popular in social media today.
I might be a scientist then.
Like, I really want to validate you because, I mean, you are abnormal. If you tried to fit into the normal population and say like, oh, like I'm just fitness coach, I'm well mindset, I know a little bit here and there, I'd be like, yes.
I appreciate you boosting my ego a little bit there, bro. It's very nice. But I don't know. I feel like if a real scientist heard me calling myself a scientist, they might be like, show me your credentials.
To be honest, like that's where you have to come in. We can go deeper into this, honestly, but that's where you have to cut in and be like, okay, I'm not saying this is what you do. This is what you have to achieve. But you talk about from a knowledge standpoint of what that is. And that's actually perfect.
Hey, I
perfect for what we're about to do. Because I want to dig into this a little bit more because you're a smart guy.
Kind of.
And we listen to a lot of interesting and wonderful people out there, men and women of the world who are, I would say, slightly scientists. Like we do enough into the sciences that we understand about it and are knowledgeable enough to talk about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to test some of that today, but not in a horrible sense, because these are questions that I typically ask Matt on a day-to-day basis. Like we'll be walking on the treadmill. I'll be talking about
Instagram
some kind of
post you'll send me.
Yes. Yeah. And so it started from, I'm sending Matt, 3-4 posts because I noticed he's active.
Every hour.
he's outing me now. I'm
or like you'll have some saved and then like I'll get like a rapid fire, like a machine gun. It's like I get like 7 posts within like his poop session.
Yeah, I got mad respect for anyone who can try to beat
sorry
me.
for calling you out on your poop session, bro. But yeah, let's see these videos, man.
I'm excited to show you a few. So this first one, I think that, in our last podcast, we talked about what does January 1st look like? What does a newcomer have to like kind of expect? I mean, you're jumping on the bandwagon now.
Yeah.
You better get your mentality straight, have a good plan. We talked about SMART, the acronym. KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Hey.
Stuff like that. And it's all great. But the first video I want to show you is this exercise alone. Like if you saw someone doing this, might just be a TikTok video. Yeah. But I want to talk about the science behind it. So I have it up.
Real quick. What's the name of this segment? Like you're asking me?
Oh yes, fact or cap.
Truth or cap? Fact or cap? Yeah.
Fact or cap? Truth. We'll work on it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's see what's going on, man.
Yes, I don't know if I'm going to put volume on this yet.
Let's put volume on. We can mute it when we show it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's so weird.
So mobility is strength training, is what he's saying.
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering let's pause that. I wonder if they're mimicking a quad extension in a sense here. All right. So what's your questions though? Load them and length them. I might need to, can you read the caption for me? If you
like,
yeah. I'm very curious what their caption says.
So if you follow blah, 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 content circles around the hips, they love to strengthen and shorten position. But he is talking about like, I have found a nice wrinkle in loading and lengthening position. Strength and length staying tight and confident when that tension goes through the roof. This setup strengthening the hips involving mobility addition and then he like just adds everybody in programs and stuff like that. But
so what's your truth or cap question on this?
Truth or cap, like, is this actually, this looks insane. I would not say that I would ever have thought in my lifetime so far in the gym to go, let me just put this dumbbell, hook my foot underneath here and lean back.
Yeah.
So first off, I'm asking, what is this doing? So he's talking about the lengthening of the position
in his hips, right? And that's what that's what he's strengthening here. I mean, I'm gonna say truth. Like, just from seeing this straight up, I'm gonna say truth. But I will also say, man, like, doing lunges is the same benefit to this, because you're lengthening that hip flexor in a lunge position. And he's talking about being strong in the lengthened position. Yeah. And so if you're trying to just isolate that movement itself, but the only time I would throw a little bit of cap in there is, brother, if I only got an hour in the gym, like, I'm not about to throw this into it. Like, if I can get the same benefit while working my quads and my glutes all in one go. So that's my only argument to this. I think if you got the time for it, if you're injured, this is a little pre-rehab as well, or post-rehab exercise that you can do.
This is definitely not a 5 p.m. gym. You need a bench, a heavy dumbbell, space. Yeah. Depending on what gym you go to, I don't think this is going to be a great suggestion for a 5, 6, 7 p.m. workout or after work.
I think that you could just do a lot more with your time. But again, I'm not going to knock it, because it's like, if someone is needing to work on that position more, like, and actually isolate it. But then again, at that point, you're in a little bit of a rehab position. You're in a little bit of a corrective exercise position. So I see it as two ways of benefits. Yeah.
One is, like, you have to get, someone who, let's just say, is like a huge, not a bodybuilder. He's a weightlifter.
Okay.
Like powerlifter.
Yeah. Oh, I can see
where me for not remembering that word.
And before you even finish your point, I can see where this does help out powerlifting, because most of their lifts are your big boy movements. And so now they're fine tuning, and I can see them doing this as a fine tune. So now, we kind of talked about this in our last episode, but now it's like, what style of fitness are you doing? If I'm bodybuilding and doing CrossFit, I could see a time and place for this, but I feel like I can do an exercise that does more. It benefits me in multiple areas rather than just lengthening my hip flexor and being strong in that lengthened position. And again, I'll keep circling back around to a Bulgarian split squat and a lunge. So, and that's where a little bit of truth in cap, just depending. It all depends, man. Like, I'm not going to bash anybody for their movements. And so, like, I would want to talk to this guy,
obviously not bashing on this creator, this athlete. I think it looks like a wonderful position. I think off the bat, why I chose it was like, this is very abnormal. This is not something you would typically see. Yeah. And I mean, these two guys are big. Yeah. These are very lean looking, tough looking gym goers.
So now I'm wondering, and sorry to cut you off, I'm wondering now if there's something going on with their hip flexors that when they're doing a deeper squat or a deadlift, that they feel weaker at a certain position. So then maybe they're implementing this for that sake.
A potential mind-muscle connection as well.
Yeah. And
working on
again,
this.
I think the biggest thing for me, it's like your time and energy in the gym. Like, and they obviously look like they lift a lot, so they're programming accordingly. So
yes. Love it.
This is fun. I actually like this a lot.
Scientist.
Bam. Put me in, coach.
Yo. I'm going to go with this one. So this one is JPG. Love JPG. Very factual, goes straight to the sources. Funny we're talking about being a scientist. This guy literally goes
I love this guy.
Straight to...
You actually put me onto him. I didn't know about him until you showed me him.
Yes. More people, JPG coaching. Hey, come work out with us, man. Yeah. He's going to walk us through and discuss how some people feel that, like, training to failure, now it's not training to failure. There's so much back and forth. Is this factor cap?
And I've been diving into this so much, and I'm excited for this topic, actually.
All right, let's see what JPG says.
Failure. Now don't do failure. Like what? I understand people's confusion with this because these topics are nuanced and it's not a hard line in the sand. What's optimal is going to be a range depending on your goals and you as an individual. Can you always train to failure and make amazing progress? Yeah, absolutely. I've done that in the past. I've structured many programs that way and it works really, really well. Nothing wrong with doing that. The issue with training a few reps away from failure is simply that most people are going to leave a lot in the tank, more than they think. That's why I think that training every set to failure works really well for some people. However, if you have a really good grasp of training 1, 2, 3 reps away from failure and you can hit that consistently, then that's not a bad way of adding in some more volume without getting more fatigue versus pushing every single set to failure. This is why I like that middle ground approach where you take the first couple of sets that you're doing within a rep or two of failure, then on your last set, you go all the way, balls to the wall. just see what you can do. That way, even if you were way off on your initial sets with how many reps away from failure you thought you were, on that last set, that will reveal all. In summary, I think that you can train to failure for every single set. If you want to, you just have to manage your volume, your fatigue well.
All right. Yeah. I agree 100% with everything. I'll dive into a little bit more on what he's talking about. So someone like Sam Sulek pushes to failure every single set, and that works for him. Now, I'm very curious on his mind-muscle connection, because can you get the same quality without training to failure? Like, because the point of failure is you're exhausting that said muscle group or that said muscle to a certain point, right? But what JP is saying here is, can you play in that range of, let's say 15 reps is where you're pushing failure, like that 13, 14, 15, you're about to fail, right? But then on his mindset on, like, if you can play in the 10 to 11 and still get the same benefits, then train to that point. And I think it's all about a little bit of mindset as well. Like, are you the type of person to like give up and that's why you need to train to failure? Like, are you the type of person who can just really find that activation and slight failure up to that certain point, then like before failure, basically, is what I'm saying. So I agree with it, man. I think it's to each their own when it comes to training to failure. Lately, I've been pushing you to train to failure. And that's where, if we're being honest, man, like, that's where I don't know your mindset and your muscle, like your muscle,
memory?
No, your muscle capacity.
Oh.
So this is where like the conversations need to happen in the moment, because sometimes I'll put onto Arin, I put a lot on him in our session sometimes, because like I'm pushing my agenda on him, on Arin. And it's because it's like I'm in the realm of like wanting to train to failure, but that's also because it's like I am exhausting my triceps to the certain point of like I can't do another one. But then sometimes when I see you go through a set, I'm just like, is he really getting that connection that I'm looking for? But I don't know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then in the middle of a workout, I'm brain dead. I'm caveman in that moment. Like, I'm not about to have a whole sit down conversation with you in that moment about like, hey man, how exactly is your chest feeling? Are you getting into that stretch position and failing at the bottom of it? Yeah. Or like, if you're not failing, are you getting that same quality? So that's where like I could be a little more communicative with you in our sessions. But to answer like your factor cap, I think that's 100% fact. Like, I don't think everyone needs to train to failure. I do think you should train to failure to figure out like that point before failure, like to really see how that feels and really know your body. So I say fact. Yeah.
Fact.
Truth,
absolutely.
Fact, whichever. Yes.
Yes. Factor cap or truth cap.
Yeah.
We wrote truth. We'll just do truth or cap.
I appreciate you getting the camera, by the way. We're still having some technical difficulty, guys.
Oh yeah. But we're like,
yeah. I will say, like, it threw me off and I had to like keep rambling on, but I did it though.
He's pushing for the quality. Like that's real. Okay. We're just pushing to get through it. Yeah. But we're having fun. And you know that all of this comes together, I say as well, not that like anyone opinion out here. Mm-hmm. But I hope it helps anyone who's ever been questioning that. Yeah. I, like Matt said, I'm not huge into like always training to failure. I've always tried to get to that point. Yeah. But I agree with JPG. There's always something left in the tank.
Do you mind if I talk a little bit about like what I've noticed about your training?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I push you to failure is because you're brute strength. Like you're strong. But the reason why I'm pushing you past your limits, one, conditioning, like, can you train your muscles to have a little more endurance? And two, it's like, I know you're strong mentally, but also it's like, instead of doing 8 reps, 10 reps, the number that I tell you to do, it's like push yourself past that point to almost where it doesn't have to be failure, but do those extra reps, like do that one extra. So I think I think he nailed it right on the head, man. I think he described it perfectly. Like, it could be failure, but understanding like the point right before failure too is a sweet spot.
Is a sweet spot. It's a range. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's prepared to go down that road to that range.
Yeah.
Like some people feel unsafe. And for years, I worked out previously by myself.
Yeah.
Matt did as well, kind of having a gym partner here and there. But you can never really push into the range because you have to be comfortable, willing, and mindset, like ready. Like I'm going to push past my limit in this set, or like I know I'm gassed. Like it could go right or left. My form's not going to be perfect, and my spotter is going to catch me if I like.
I'll get it this time.
Crank it,
yeah. And another thing too, man, is I just feel like I was in that realm too. Like when I'm giving you this advice to push to failure, push 1 or 2 extra reps, dude. Like I just learned this while we've been training together. Like this isn't something I've been doing for years, and I'm trying to push you to do it. I used to just always do 4x12, 4x10, 4x8, and stop at the number. Like I'm just now getting out of that. So do you have another video that we can dive into?
Those are the only 2. Keeping it light, because I know it's going to continue to go on to the next piece, which is actually the mindset. So we're really ramping in on, okay, so let's just say like for me, for example, like you said, Arin can lift like an ox. But I'm using a lot of support muscles. I'm not really targeting like the huge muscle groups that we're looking at. I am kind of getting stuck in that realm where I can get the weight up, but it's not in the right proper form. It may not be the exact optimized movement that we want. And that's where, gym rats who've been around for a while, trainers, coaches, people with a lot of wisdom, all have different perspectives. And I hope that this conversation helps to shed light in that. But coming from the other side, if you are not a trainer, coach, if you are not a gym person who averages, I would say like 2-3 times a week consistently over a long period of time, you're not going to have that range. You're not going to feel safe. Like I didn't feel safe for many years pushing into like I'm not trying to drop 225 on my face.
Yeah. Like definitely squats was my thing. Like that was the one that was hard for me due to some injuries for sure. Yeah. But I just wasn't comfortable putting 225 on my back. And I've came a long way for sure. So,
dude, we have come a long way physically, but we've come a long way. I did not work out. I worked out every day about 11 o'clock at our like campus gym. Pretty normally. And that was like my time because I hate peak times. I'm not a peak time person. I would rather be that monster in the back, late at night or early in the morning. But I never really pushed for it. So one of my questions to you, Matt, is like, as part of like your routine, what kind of mindset do you run through? Because there's so many different perspectives. I know it's a very subjective matter, but I'm curious as to like, what do you lead into to get you up in the early morning? Because I sure as heck was not a morning person until we met.
Yeah, but man, I don't really know where to start with this because there's so many angles I can go in on this. First of all, just waking up early, like that was how I get my routine started. I think that started with a job. Like a job made me wake up so early. And that definitely helps. I am such a people pleaser, dude, that because I have to be at a job, I will wake up at a time, right? And now I don't have to be at my job at that time anymore at 5 o'clock in the morning. But with you being my gym partner, knowing that someone is waiting on me, then yes, like I am not going to miss a beat. Like I hop up out of my bed immediately off of an alarm. But you called me out on something recently, and it was like a day that like you were sick, you couldn't make it, and I rolled out of bed so slow. I did not have that same motivation. And you kind of called me out like, where's that Kobe mentality? Like, and it was just, and honestly, man, I'm such a people pleaser that you saying that drove me because it's like, I'm not going to ever let you down again kind of thing. And so now the question is like, how does one do that without having a partner? How does one do that without like having someone rely on you? But to answer your question, man, like I'm the type of person who wakes up off the first ring of an alarm. Like I don't have multiple alarms. Like I'm not saying you should do that. If you are a 5-6 alarm clock person, do that. But I think the biggest thing is like put those feet on the ground as soon as that alarm goes off. Don't spend 1 second like laying in bed again. Like just put the feet, sit up. You can stay in bed, but sit up. Like ideally get out of bed, like move, get out. Like don't be comfortable. And it's tough, man. It's not easy. But
it's tough.
Yeah.
It was tough for me. I remember like I didn't meal prep at all. And this is where you called me out starting out. So we worked out at like 4:45, I think at that time.
Yeah, we used to try to get started at 4:45. Yeah.
Started at 4:45, 5-minute warm up. Maybe, we're trying to figure out a warm up routine at that time. So, You were probably there 4:30. I woke up at 3:15, 3:30 in the morning. And it's because I had no meal prep. And so I had to make my breakfast, pack my lunch, weigh all my things, and pack it up and then get going.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. Camera back again. It's fine. But, we sat down and Matt had to look me in the windows of my soul. And he was like, Arin, if I can save you 15 minutes and you get 15 minutes more sleep, 3 something in the morning is ridiculous. And at that time, I was just trying to push. I was trying to optimize everything I possibly could in my workout that I sacrificed so much on the prep side of things. So there was a lot that went into my mindset because my mindset was not the struggle. I'll get up, I'll get going. I will. Yeah. I'll just be there. And that's because I have that competitive edge. I want to be great. I want to be awesome at what I do. Yeah. So fixing small things now I meal prep. It's a struggle bus. I literally carry around, I come back from the weekend from Dallas. I got this giant freaking tote bag that's probably 50 freaking pounds full of lamb and lean ground beef, veggies, everything I'm about to eat for the entire week. And I walk in the door. It's Costco heavy.
Yeah. And then to dive into some more of it, what is your routine on the way to the gym? Do you do anything in that realm? Do you, are you listening to certain things? Are you is it quiet time? You know what I mean? What do you do on that ride to the gym? Cause it's about 20 minutes for you?
20, 25.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for me, it's 19 to 22. That's just the range, depending on if there's anything slowing me down.
Yep.
Yeah. But what do you do? Is there any routine that you do? Once you're out of the door?
I'm at this point, it was fixing the prep beforehand. That helps me. I feel so much better just grabbing the Tupperware, throwing it in the lunch bag and going. That was the thing that halted me because I knew I had to wake up and do something. Yeah. With that done, I'm smooth. I'm out the door. Yeah. I have it down so far to a point now because we've been at this for over a year.
Well, no, this routine here we started in July.
Yes.
So July to now, and that camera keeps shutting off.
We're almost a year under this.
Let's finish this topic and then we'll turn it back on.
Yep. So morning routine, get up. Probably I have 3 alarms. My first alarm is 4 a.m. My second alarm is 4:15. I hit snooze on the first alarm. I get 15 minutes of just beautiful, glorious sleep, knowing that I have 15 more minutes. 15, get up, 4:30, I'm out. Yeah. So within 15 minutes, I am already changed out the door, driving. I crack open whatever caffeine I have. I drink half the can. This is just oddly specific at this point. Yeah. I drink half the can a quarter away into the drive, and I time that. My body knows now that it times perfectly. So by the time I hit the treadmill for a 5-minute leg warm up with Matt, I'm ready. I'm primed.
Yeah. Nice. No, that's good, man.
The rest of the car ride though is just prayer, reflection. Yeah. Just thoughts in the morning. It's kind of fun.
No, I hear that, bro. Mine is similar. Well, outside of the whole waking up part, once I get in my car, I don't touch pre-workout or caffeine until I am 17 minutes in. I know that's very particular. Or
we are particular people.
Yes. But 17 minutes in because me personally, I want to make sure my body's waking up naturally. If I had an entire hour to do technically it is an hour. Wake up at 4:15. So I would love to get a full hour of no caffeine in my body. But yeah, so once I get in my car, like you said, I got quiet time. That's the time where I do a little morning prayer moment for me. And the last 2 weeks I've been listening to gospel music as soon as I'm driving. But the 2 weeks before that, or not 2 weeks, but the weeks before that, it was strictly some form of self-help or motivational speech that I listen to before every workout. It wakes me up. It just gets my mindset right, man. I know we talk a lot about Goggins style versus what's realistic. Especially with these morning routines or you're working out.
Kobe mentality.
Yeah. I think I like to use Kobe mentality more than Goggins. Goggins is a little crazy. I do like him. I get to see him speak for the first time, February 22nd here in Dallas. I'm really excited to see him speak. Tickets. Yeah, that's nice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Aspire. I'm excited to see him and Mark Cuban. But no, there's just this mentality that I use with the Kobe concept. And I'm going to be honest, man, I compete with you subconsciously so hard. If y'all don't know this, I don't want him beating me to the gym. And I remember one time ever. I remember one time he beat me to the gym and he was like, I see a guy, and he's joking, guys. Like he's not serious, but he's joking around and he says, I got here before you. Little does he know that like that put something in my brain, like you ain't never beating me to the gym again. And I know Arin don't care. Like that's not his thing. But for me, it's like, all right, bro, I'm so competitive that like, I'm going to have this edge on you every day now. And that's where it's a Kobe thing. Like it's that Kobe mentality where it's like, I'm always going to be here. I want you to know that I'm warm while you're still warming up. Yeah. Like I know I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am, bro. Like if I could actually start like my stretches and stuff before we started, I would, but I know that's not good for our flow, you know? Yeah. Like we flow together, we get a chat. So
we found that out.
Yeah, we found that out real quick. But yeah, man, I think it is all about your routine and you don't got to go crazy hard. You just got to find a routine that works for you. So you don't got to go David Goggins on people, man. You don't got to wake up every 2 hours and run 2 miles every 2 hours.
No, you do not. So, you don't have to do like a million freaking pull-ups in a day or set world records.
And being real with you too, man, like you don't even got to do the Kobe stuff, man. Like, cause he was crazy too. He really was crazy, but I use just some of it. Like I'm not going to balls to the wall, you know?
There has to be a healthy balance in your mindset that gets you to a degree that's not unhealthy for you, but it's still going to help you meet your goals and mentality. I don't subscribe to like what Matt and I are talking about. Like there's little bits and pieces from some of the big top names out there on the mindset that are going to assist only to a degree though. Like I hit a hard plateau waking up so early in the morning. There was just nothing else I could think about, but other than just, I got to wake up. I got to wake up.
Yeah. Hey man, it's something you definitely do have to fight through, especially if you're going out of your normal routine. And let's just be honest too, man. Like when it comes to our morning routine, the sacrifice there is evening things. Like we're not watching shows. We're not going out and hanging out with friends on a Thursday or Wednesday or Tuesday. Like that is just not a thing.
We're clean eating.
Yeah, exactly, man. And if I'm trying to hang out with you, we're doing stuff like this. Like, sorry to all my friends out there. I'm not sorry though, but it's like, unless we're growing together, and I really don't mean that in a rude way, but it's like, I got things to do, man. Like, and I'm trying to really be successful. So yeah, I know that sounds a little douchey, but I'm gonna go fix this camera while we dive into the next topic, man.
Not even douchey at all. But there's something in there that I want to harp on as well, which is actually there's so much routine in this. Not everyone's going to have that routine. Everybody aspires to have that routine. We definitely are like on a grind mindset, but for men out there, like the grind mindset doesn't mean you have to like ghost everybody. Matt and I are deep, caring, loving people, men of faith. We care so much about our family members, the particularities of our partners, the people around us, and how we are trying to form not only our ministry, but our care for those, no matter what that is. And it takes a lot to get there. There is so much that goes into it.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I'm selfish because like I always like, if you want to hang out with me, let's go work out. But in my mind, it's like, if I got to hang out with you, but it's getting drunk or like going out late at night, like, yes, it should be a two-way street where I'm doing things that you like, but at the same time, like doing the things that like you may like isn't conducive to like my lifestyle.
Right.
So come and work out with me. Is it selfish for me to ask you to take care of yourself? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think like we're just entering our primes. I'm 30. You're 27?
27.
Yeah. Like we're just entering our primes. I hate this conversation that everything's going downhill at 30. Nope. I'm making my 30 my new 20s.
Yes.
So
you just now have more resources, knowledge to really hit the road running. And we want to capitalize on that. And to be honest, like, so what, like some people have to leave our lives because the lifestyle doesn't necessarily match up. But when we talk about routine, there is something more important to that you've had to work with me on. I have boundary routines in my movement. And that goes down to like all the way down through the cadence. Okay. And what do we mean by cadence? We want to break that down real quick.
So cadence can be like your eccentrics. If you're talking about working out, right? You're talking about working out like your time under tension. Is that what you're kind of speaking
under
on?
The weight.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it's just time under tension. Like, are you doing a 1 second down or a 4 second down? Are you doing a 1 second hold versus a 4 second hold? And same thing. Are you doing a 4 second contraction at the top? Or like the contraction as you're going up, or are you just exploding off of it every time? Now it depends on your work style. If you're doing, if you're training for power, but in reality, it's like you should be working all styles in a sense. And power will come, but you got to work on your eccentrics. which eccentric is your opposite side of the contraction. So if you're doing a chest press, it's the coming down part. If you're doing a back row, it's the letting go and coming like forward part. I'm trying to keep it simple, guys. If it's your squats, it's the going down into your squat part. So
yes, one thing I wanted to do was just run a quick exercise on cadence, because when you get advice from anyone, depending on whether you know them, a relationship, etc., like that, like we're always going to talk about like proper form and proper formatting for like whatever lift we're about to go do. So I wanted to cover bench, squat, and deadlift as far as cadence goes. But I have a little whiteboard.
Yes.
Matt might help me out with this. So
if you don't mind using black, actually, I think it might show better. And then maybe the colors can be for other
we can
points.
Like circle things.
Yeah.
We can circle things. But basically what we have been working on so that everyone has an idea is, let's say that this is a bench cadence.
Okay.
All right. And the first thing that's going to happen is like you're going to take it off the rack and you're going to go down into your eccentric.
Yes.
So this is the downward movement. And sometimes, because in bench, now this is our extending of the
stretch position of your chest.
Stretch position.
Yes.
And so the longer time we spend in the stretch position, I know not everyone's going to see this, we're really not going to be progressing too slow or too fast.
Okay.
We don't want to go like slamming it into our chest.
Yes.
But the longer that we're in this elongated position, the more muscle we are using in time under tension.
Yes.
And then now we're like working on our concentric, going back up. We're not going super fast.
Yeah.
And then once we're at the top, we're just kind of repeating back down. And so one of the things, I know this is a horrible rendition of like, what is he talking about? This is eccentric going down, hitting my chest. Even sometimes you may have a small pause right here.
Yeah.
Is that a straight line? Does that look straight to you?
That's good enough.
Good enough. And then some people are going like, oh, you're going to squeeze the bottom, then rise back to the top. And you have all these things that's going to help you out. It's going to make you stronger. This is where so many people run into advice knowledge gaps, or things of like, okay, is this right? Is this wrong? I was taught to squeeze at the top. I was taught to like hold at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different questions built into it. That's why I wanted to go over it. But
well, the beautiful thing about this, if you don't mind me interjecting here, C-Bum was actually just talking about it. And I watched this guy called RP Training. I forgot his name because I just know him by his brand.
What's his brand?
It's just called RP Hypertrophy, I believe. But anyways, he was reviewing C-Bum's exercise in his program, and C-Bum talks about being in the stretch position is actually more important than the contraction position at the top. And again, I'm just speaking off of other people's information. Like I haven't looked into studies, but this guy's an actual exercise scientist. And he reviews people's exercises and he actually really critiques them. But yeah, being in the stretch position, that's why people talk about like these holds at the bottom. You're definitely, and that's why you can dial down on some of the weight, because it's more about the quality of the lift itself. So
yes,
on the eccentric, I'm learning right now that the eccentric into the stretch position is more important than the contraction to the squeeze at the top. So again, I'm learning something different, and there's so many different styles of exercise, but that's something that I'm learning right now. So
I mean, I agree. Yeah. A lot of people are going to say quality over quantity.
Yeah.
But not many are going to learn and know or have the knowledge of like, what does quality look like? How can I achieve better quality? This is just one of many pieces of advice out there. I drew a better diagram.
Oh, much better, bro.
I had to face it towards me. But now we have down. We have a pause in the elongated position that Matt was talking about. And then we're rising back up to finish out our movement. This is the same for any movement that's concentric and eccentric, moving towards you, a pull, pushing away from you, like on a bench.
Well, if you don't want me interjecting here, let's talk about bench more. Remember the day that it was like maybe 5-6 weeks ago, man. I made you do 95 pounds on a bench press, but we were doing eccentrics and pauses the whole time. And this is coming from someone who can probably bench 315. Like Arin's strong, guys. Like, but 95 pounds at 12 reps with working on eccentric and pauses, like the dude was burnt out. Like he
toasted.
You got, like, don't get me wrong. I do think there's a place for power when you're pushing big numbers. Like, and I'm gonna be honest, like we play with that line of our ego. Like it's okay to have a little bit of an ego lift. I don't care what anyone says. Like you don't want to ego lift, but hey man, if I want to push 315 because like I know I can, and I just want to see in PR one day, cool. But if you're doing little things like this where you're working on lighter loads, pause, and then and then you're working on lighter weight, and then it will benefit your heavier lifts. But yeah, toasted them on 95 pounds that day.
What do we say? We say make it hard.
Yeah. Pause.
So we take make it hard. Like it doesn't have to be the big ego lifting. We're not lifting thousands and thousands of pounds in some kind of overload session. Yeah. So I wanted to do bench real quick. We can run through squat. Because squat, I mean, there's so many different forms of squat.
Let's run through deadlifts. I mean, the reason why I would rather do a deadlift, because a squat is a push motion just like bench. So we would basically be having the same conversation. So let's go over a pull rather than another push.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Dead.
So it's still the same concept though in the graph, just being honest.
How do you do your deadlift cadence wise?
While I draw mine, let's go over, like, could you run through the difference between a sumo and a conventional deadlift while I draw this?
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
Right.
So there has been different stance recommendations for deadlift. You have a conventional, which is where you're about knees to shoulder width apart in your feet position, feet angled out with a slight bend in the knee, and you're grabbing with your arms outside of placement of your knees or your legs. Basically, you're grabbing onto the bar, you're pulling up, completing your movement, and then placing it back down. This is a conventional movement. Your sumo is the opposite. You are now wide stance, so we're probably 2 or 3 times the extension, and that's what they call a sumo stance. I think it's just talking about the elongated, wider, toes pointed out, same position, but your legs are now spread more. I would almost call this like double your shoulder width apart. You do have to play with this. This is where this movement can go very wrong very fast, is because if you are not properly loading your spine and are properly formed and know your mind muscle connection, you're going to your lower back is already just out there in the open.
Yeah. That's where you're going to pull from the most is the lower back. Yeah.
And I feel it's more apparent in a sumo.
Yeah.
You really don't have much movement, but this is also why you see some people who are just complete animals do a sumo at 800 pounds.
Yeah.
A sumo deadlift. And you're like, oh my gosh. And this guy may weigh, like 170 at best.
Yeah.
It's because they've shortened the length of the bar moving up and down.
That bar path is shorter. So,
absolutely.
And another thing too is like going into sumo, you're really diving into your adductors a lot more. That's why people get sore off of sumo deadlifts, because the inside of the leg adductors are the inside of your legs, guys. So that's just where a lot of the meat is for me. Cadence. Guys. Yeah, cadence on the deadlift. So I'm gonna have the same exact chart that he has basically, but I'm gonna write a little bit in there. So when you're working on your eccentric, guys, eccentric is the going down part. Okay, like I'm gonna keep saying eccentric. So if you're paying attention, you're learning. Eccentric is going down on a deadlift. So what you're working mainly on the going down part on your deadlift is the stretch and the lengthening of your hamstrings. Okay. So when you're at the bottom, you can pause down there or you can tap and go. But when you're coming up, that's why a lot of people even though I said this was a pull motion, a deadlift is a pull and push. So if you're properly getting into your deadlift, conventional or sumo, you're pulling and pushing. So you're pulling with your hamstrings, you're pushing with your quads. And one of the things that people forget a lot is that your lats are actually activated here too. You have to have a lat lock, okay? But to talk about the cadence of it, you want to have that control going down. Like I know you guys may see a lot of people who just drop the weight. Now I get it. If you're going for PRs, you are not about to sit there and worry about your eccentric too much. You're just trying to get that weight up. You're trying to pull it, get it up.
And then just get it over with.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the point of this conversation, cadence is a place for getting stronger. Like we're not saying on your PRs that if I had to recommend, go for a little bit of an eccentric, like on your PRs too. Really show yourself how strong you are.
You got it in the tank.
Yeah. If you're strong in the eccentric, you're strong in any movement. Like, man, I think that's the most important thing about cadence actually. And I'm happy we're talking about this. Eccentric. If you're strong in your eccentric, you're strong. That's in the last 6 months, I told you I've been working on this like cadence and working on the eccentric more, the pauses, the lengthening of my muscle. What did I do the other day? Like 225 for 5, pushing 6. Yeah. And 5 months ago, I barely got one. Like I got one, we laughed about it, we unracked it and put 185, 205 on there. But now I'm really pumping it out. And guess what I've been working on? I've been working on my eccentrics, man. And I feel like I'm getting so much stronger. So guys, work on your cadence.
Your cadence can be both a safety piece for you, but also a strengthening piece for you.
Yeah. And I avoided it so many times. I avoided working on eccentrics, working on holds because it was uncomfortable. I'm going to be real with you, man. Like if you're a newbie in the gym, you're just going to be uncomfortable going into the gym. But if you're working on eccentrics, it's going to be even more uncomfortable. It's not fun working on eccentrics. Like,
it's a painful process.
Yeah, dude. On our arm day, when we were doing the cable lateral raises, there was a point where like I was just fighting so hard just to hold the weight at the contraction position and then working on the going down the eccentric part. And to the point where I had to lighten the weight. And I'm gonna be real with you. Sometimes my ego hits me where it's like, damn, man, like I can't lift as much. I know Arin he gonna go right back up, but I can't lift to his numbers and he shouldn't be lifting to my numbers. His numbers are his, mine are mine. Now there is a realm of our ego where it's like, all right, cool. He's staying there. I'm going to stay there. Like, you know what I mean? There's a place for it, but I think we're pretty smart on dropping weight when we need to and working on technique more than anything.
And like noticing when your gym partner is lacking.
Yeah.
Like, Matt will turn around and he'll be like, you don't have to use my weight, dude. You can go up.
Yeah.
Like you should go up because I know you got more in the tank. And that's pushing each other in the gym. That's one thing that with time.
Yeah, no, and that's good, man. And I think it's best to have accountability. So if you're out there, look for coaches to help you because that's one way to have accountability without having a gym partner. But yeah, if you have a buddy, do the journey with someone. I think it's one of the best things. I always appreciate you working out with me, man.
The end result, clean lifting, safe lifting. And then on top of that, like you have something to look back on. Like Matt said, 225 barely repped it for 5 months ago. And now he's repping at 6. For myself, my form is cleaning up heavily. And I can't wait to get back under some big, heavy weights again, but that's just not a part of the journey and the plan that we have at the moment. And that's okay. I am enjoying that I'm learning more about my body and I'm learning more about the cadences. We're really working on getting into the nitty gritty pieces.
Yeah.
And that's on accountability. That's on the mindset that you lead with.
Yeah.
So it's important to have the good people in your life. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but like, honestly, if it weren't for Matt, like I would not be pushing myself this hard, chasing dreams, goals, all the aspirations. I'm not saying that you have to find someone like Matt who's going to have the same exact dreams. I was just blessed to run into this dude because at first I thought he was straight competition. I was like, I gotta get good real quick.
Deep down, it is competition, brother. At least I'm gonna let you know how I feel about it. It is competition, dog, and that's what's going to drive me. And it's a healthy competition.
Yeah.
But I made a post the other day, and I love the statement on it. Is like that 2023 was the warm up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. 2024 is going to be the absolute greatest year ever, man.
And plan it out. Make sure you have the good accountability around.
By the time this comes out, it's probably the first week of January anyway. So we're in 2024. So
we'll see you on the gym floor then.
Yes, sir. With all your heart, guys.